Hi, thanks for tuning in. I have a question from a subscriber here, Mr. Sanad Ramanadesh. Rawasdesh or something. I can't pronounce these words properly. Sanad, I'll call you Sanad. Sanad wants me to do a video on heavy metal detoxification. I'm not sure if I've completed any of these before, Sanad, but let's talk a bit about this. Your name, it looks to be like an Asian name or Middle East or something, so yeah, maybe it's relevant for you doing heavy metal detoxification. It depends on your job or your occupation, where you live, or your hobbies. So I used to work a long time ago in a medical clinic. Long time ago, would have been about 15, 20 years ago now. And one of the doctors there, his whole focus was on heavy metal detoxification. I mean, that was his thing. Every patient that came through the door was probably going to be toxic on metals. So, it's the same. If you listen to opera music all the time, then country's crap and rock's crap. Everything's country. Your whole life's country and western, then everyone around you's got to listen to country and western music. If you drive a Ferrari, all other cars suck. Only Ferrari is the car, One point I'm trying to make is there are a lot of one-trick ponies out there. You need to be careful for people that you go and see that specialize in only one thing. Now, my channel's called Candida Crusher. Does that mean that I'm a one-trick pony? No, I ride lots of different horses. So, you don't just want to look at one particular facet of your health and, not look at the other facets. So if we look at heavy metal detoxification, the first thing that you want to do, obviously, is an analysis or a test of some sort. Okay, you want to really understand if you've got a problem with heavy metals. And a hair test is a good starting point for you, Sanad. So just take some samples from the nape of the neck, and then they can go get analysed in a proper lab to see if there's any heavy metals in the body. Now, any medical doctors looking at this will say, what a load of crap. If we want to find heavy metals on a person, we will do a blood test to determine if they've got heavy metal. We do a biopsy. Well, most doctors have got no knowledge at all on toxicology. All right? No knowledge at all, none. I think it's a medical speciality, but I don't really think that many doctors are in tune with toxins. I could spend a whole day talking about cases on heavy metal toxicity. Let me tell you one quick example on a patient, a Greek. When I practiced in Australia, I had a lot of Italian and Greek patients. And a man brought me in his mother, and she didn't speak English, she was Greek. And she had very weird symptoms. Her feet were burning. She had peripheral neuropathy. She had a lot of weird symptoms. And when I looked at this case, I thought, there's something not wrong with this lady. It wasn't medication she was on. I thought, she's toxic. So I said to the son, tell mum that we want to do a hair test on her, take a sample from the nape of the neck. And he's, mum, blah, 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 something in Greek. So anyway, we got the hair. We got the test results back from this lady, and the lead, listen to this, was about 600 times higher than it should have been, like it was off the chart. In fact, I got a letter from Dr. Starter saying, we request that this patient undergo detoxification and all this sorts of stuff. So they were quite concerned too. In fact, I emailed them back saying, something's not right here. And then one of the PhDs emailed me back saying, Eric, we're right. He said, because what we do is we split the hair samples in two. We test one lot, then we test again. And he said this patient had exceptionally high levels of lead. So anyway, the patient came back. I spoke about the lead toxicity, and I said, where's the lead coming from? And then I found out that her husband goes fishing, goes fishing. But what these people do is they were going around to different car yards looking for pieces of lead, just scrap metal yards looking for lead. And then the lady was telling me through her son interpreting that she was melting the lead in a pot and pouring it into molds to make sinkers. So she's inhaling these lead fumes. Okay? I was shocked when I heard that. But then I said to her son, that's incredible. What else does the husband do? And then the woman went like this with her mouth. I don't know what she was talking about. But then the son said that she sometimes swallows bits of stuff that she spits out on a plate. And I said, well, what do you mean? What's she talking about? He said, well, the husband goes duck hunting. And this is a long time ago when they still had lead shot in the shotguns. He was shooting ducks, and he'd bring them home, and old Ma then would cut the duck open, clean it up, and then eat it. And she was actually eating lead pellets in the lead flesh, and she was also in smelling the fumes from the sinkers. So Now, she'd been a month prior to coming to me to a neurologist who said she had Parkinson's syndrome. This woman didn't have Parkinson's syndrome at all. This woman had lead toxicity, right? Now, she was quite elderly, but we spent about 6 months detoxifying her with a protocol. So how I detoxify older people is different from how I detoxify younger people. Okay, there are many, many different protocols I will use for heavy metal cleansing. And it's not my place here with this video to explain exactly how I do it. You know, I would detoxify an 8-year-old entirely different from the 75-year-old. There are many different ways I would do it. With a younger person, you know, in their 30s or 40s, I would do a hair analysis, and then often I would do a urinary provocation. So they would take a sample in of a substance like DNPS, for example. They can either be intravenous or orally. They can also take a sulfur-based compound. I think Thorn Research make one called sulfonal. And you swallow that. Is it sulfonal or it's, I can't remember it now, but there are many companies that make these sulfur compounds. So you can swallow this sulfur and then basically do a urine collection after that within, I think, 1 to 2 hours. And you can assess that, you know, for heavy metals. Hair analysis is a cheap and effective way to determine if you've got a problem in your body. Provocation is an even better way to assess how bad the problem is. Okay, because that's basically, you know, if you've got a problem or not. But be careful for the one-trick pony doctors who say everything's heavy metal toxicity. If you want to know that if you've got a problem yourself, go and do a hair analysis with either Doctors Data Labs or Genova Diagnostics. You're only looking about 150 or 200 US dollars at the most to do that test. That'll give you a great insight into seeing if you've got a problem with heavy metal or not. The 4 chief metals that we're concerned about are arsenic, mercury, cadmium, and lead. Aluminium is also a problem, harder to detoxify from the body, but there are about 7 or 8 other toxic metals. I mean, copper and zinc are metals as well, don't forget that. I mean, they can be toxic in high amounts as well. But a hair test is the best test. If you've had that done, come back to me through this channel and tell me what the results are, and then maybe I can talk you through a bit of a protocol. So be very careful when it comes to heavy metal cleansing. There's simple ways to do it. There are difficult ways to do it. You don't need a lot of expensive products to clean the body from heavy metal. But here's my question to you. Why should you be concerned with heavy metals when there are potentially 50,000 other chemicals that can be affecting your body right now? A better solution is to stop smoking, stop drinking, leading a cleaner, healthier lifestyle in general, so your body's ability to detoxify is greatly increased. That way, whatever kind of poisons the body has, it will try and eliminate them. Now, coming back to what I said before about doctors, doctors have this crazy belief that if they do a blood test, they can determine heavy metal, you know, toxicity or not. But the body won't store lead any more than 24 to 36 hours in the bloodstream. So this lady, you know, if she hasn't had a recent exposure to lead, it will show nothing in the blood, and then they'll be concluding, well, there's no toxicity here. However, had they taken nail samples or hair samples or done provocation tests, they would have found a ton of lead like I did. That lady now has lost belief in the medical system completely, which is quite sad. But you can imagine how many years she's been suffering from these symptoms until we cleaned, you know, that lead out of the body. And that's what I love about my job, is just seeing people's lives change like that. It's fantastic. So, Sanat, I hope that answers your question. Get the hair test done if in doubt, and then get it assessed yourself, and then you can make the decisions on what you want to do. Thanks for putting the question to me.